I'm James.
And I'm Rupert.
We're Sailing Virgins.
Yeah!
We're here in Bora Bora. We just came across from Maupiti this morning. Maupiti's amazing. We were diving with manta rays. We got to the top of Maupiti and dawn this morning, and here we are in Bora Bora.
So Jack's back in the BVIs, still working. So we're here outside of Bora Bora Yacht Club, and we wanted to give you the A to Z's of dinghying around when you are out yachting.
So we're going to break that up into 6. It's going to be the pre-start, the start, driving the dinghy, stopping the dinghy, securing, and other. So let's go. Yeah, so we've chartered a Lagoon 52 from Dream Yacht Charters here in Tahiti, and they've given us a cool dinghy here with a 15 two-stroke on the back. And so I'm going to take you through the pre-start tips for the dinghy. Firstly, find out if it is 2-stroke or 4-stroke. The main difference as far as you're concerned is when you refuel it with a 2-stroke, you're going to need to mix oil with the fuel. Usually a ratio of about 1 to 50, so about 2% of oil in the fuel that you need to do for a 2-stroke. The other one is to check oars and your fuel level before you get going. Make sure you don't leave with an empty tank, and make sure you have your oars on board. If you don't, you could be cactus, and you could break rule number 1, which of course is always look good. So the third thing we've got to do is to check the deck vest for anyone who doesn't swim. And make it the culture of, it's not going to be some hero thing about nobody wears deck vests here. It's a case of, hey, if you have any doubt at all about your swimming prowess, if you're to fall off or anything like that, no problem at all, wear a deck vest. It's a good way to go. Most of the time we're swimmers here, whether it's Tahiti or the Caribbean, and most people frankly won't wear deck vests, but it's a good thing if somebody's not confident. The fourth thing with the pre-start is staying connected to the boat. Make sure you don't start the dinghy and without a connection to the boat. You'll find, that's right, you'll find that there's times when you think you're going to start the boat and it just doesn't, and you spend 5 or 10 minutes starting it. You don't want to be drifting at that point. So they're the 4 pre-start checks that I'd recommend.
So now we want to start our dinghy engine, our Suzuki 15. We have here the fuel cord going through the bulb and into the engine. If this was a cold engine that hasn't been used today, then you may want to pump some fuel in until you feel the pressure build up inside of this. You may also want to apply some choke by pulling out this nozzle. We've been chasing manta rays and eagle rays all morning in this, so we don't need any of that. So to start for this time, we want to apply just a little bit above minimum revs. We want to check that it's in neutral as opposed to forwards or reverse. And we always want to make sure that we have this red cable around our wrist. This tells others around us and reminds us that if we fall overboard, the engine will cut out, preventing us from damaging ourselves or maybe losing a limb. Very, very important that we have the kill cord on at all times. So, here we go. Last point is to make sure that when you cast off, you receive the painter into the dinghy and it comes over the front so you can see it clearly. You don't want to get this caught in your propeller.
So here's some driving tips. Firstly, this is like a tiller on a sailing boat. That is, when I want to turn to the left, I put this to the right. So it takes a bit of getting used to if you haven't driven it before. I'll give you a little bit of a demo. So I'm going straight now. Want to turn to the left, put this to the right, yeah? Want to turn to the right, put this to the left, okay? So that's the first thing. The Americans call it turn before you burn. Turn before you burn. And that is, if I want to go that way, then I'm going to put it forward after I've turned it. So I turn it, and then I burn it, yeah? And that puts me straight into a turn, okay? So turn before you burn. Here's a good one. The third thing I want to do is to weight the dinghy correctly. I've got Kyle here holding the camera, I've got Rupy here, and if there was wind, then what I want to do is weight it away from the wind. So let's say wind was on this side, I'd say, Root, can you sit here please? And so then I'd have definitely the heaviest weight on that side of the dinghy. And the dinghy is sort of facing away from the swell and the wind and that sort of thing, and you won't get sprayed as much. Okay, so the fourth point, planing. These dinghies can plane, especially with a 15, which means they ride above the water, right? And so you need to get it at speed. You're either displacement, which is moving the water out of the way, which is what we're doing now, or you can plane. I'm about to do that. It's not worth planing if you are too heavy on the dinghy. With the three of us, we'll be able to do it, and I'll show you. So we'll move more forward, a bit forward on the wave, and now we're on a plane, okay? And I'm bringing it back to about 80% now because I don't need 100% for the plane. I'm going to do a nice gentle turn, no big turns when we're doing speed, and I'm going to look, of course, in the direction that the boat is turning.
So now we're wanting to move on to stopping your dinghy, okay? When you're traveling at speed or planing, as James just displayed, sometimes using the gear lever here and going into neutral is not enough to stop your boat. Applying a little bit of pressure or power in reverse helps slow down the vessel, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to use this and demonstrate a little tutorial for you, okay? Coming up to the downwind backward end of Borneo, our Lagoon 52. So if you're concerned that you're approaching too fast, feel free to go into neutral and then reverse to slow down the dinghy so that you can just control the speed at which you approach. Bosh. Okay. When you go into reverse, it's very important that you take note of what angle your tiller is at to make sure that you don't give a last minute acceleration in the wrong direction, messing up your approach. So the other things that you can be approaching is a dinghy dock or beach. We'll go into how to approach a dinghy dock right now. So as you're approaching a dinghy dock or a place that you want to drop off your guests or pick them up, you're looking for any kind of handheld supports that they can use when coming on and off the dinghy. The last thing you want is for one to fall in the water when they're trying to get in. So here I found a great point to drop off or collect some guests. We're going to use the ladder because it's got great railings for guests to be able to use when they get on and off the dinghy. And if you just apply a little bit of throttle, it'll keep the dinghy pressed up against the dock so that your guests can get on and off without the chance of any gap appearing in the dinghy and the dock. We're now going to go back and approach the yacht from downwind. So when approaching a yacht, you always want to make sure that you're approaching it towards the stern of the boat because that's where it tends to be lowest around the transom area and the easiest for guests to get on and off the boat. Okay, and as I approach, I'm just going to come alongside so that I've got an easy way of holding the boat secure. To allow my guests to get on and off side by side.
Yeah. Okay, so for securing the dinghy to a dock or to the boat or anything else, Dream Yachts, like most decent charter companies, have provided us with a box of kind of things for the dinghy. One of them is a scoop for the water. The other one is a cable for the to secure the dinghy to either a dock or the boat or something like that. And the other thing is the anchor. The anchor is really useful to keep the dinghy off a dock so it doesn't get crunched underneath the dock or something like that. So don't be afraid to use the anchor at the right time. It's got a little collapsible job here. The other thing is tying knots. So our painter on this one has a spliced loop in the end, which is pretty handy in most situations. But most painters, and that is the line attaching the dinghy to the actual boat, are longer, and you need to know your knots. So you need to know round turn and 2 half hitches. Round turn and 2 half hitches is the most common knot to use to secure a dinghy. Another knot is of course the clove hitch and sometimes the bowline, but most often the round turn and 2 half hitches. Yeah.
So just before we close up dinghying all together, there are some other pointers that we need to cover. So when going through mooring fields, it's really good to make sure that you just watch your speed, that you're not upsetting any of the other boats. You give off a little bit of a wake when you're cruising, so make sure that wake isn't big enough to disrupt any of the boats. You don't want anyone cooking below deck to be disrupted by this, and you also don't want to run over anyone that's diving, checking a mooring or an anchor, or even swimming about from boat to boat at night time. The other thing to help you be noticed and spotted at night time is to have a torch. If you don't have a torch on you, just use your phone light, that's perfectly acceptable. We always make sure that we've got a head torch with us at all times. If you are to run out of fuel and you don't know how to oar, or the current or the wind is blowing you away, it's good to make sure that you always have the ability to communicate. So if you don't have your mobile phone with you, we recommend that you carry an ICOM M25, good piece of kit, waterproof and floats, so you can call for aid if you have any troubles in the evening. That should be pretty much everything.
Yeah, so that's it, that's a wrap. We've shown you Maupetit Island, it's unreal. We're going to shoot some more, we're going to be doing some more stuff around Bora Bora, so hopefully show you some more stuff there. We've taken you through the tips, starting from pre-start to start, to driving, to stopping, to securing, and some of these other points. So if you like it, please thumbs up, really helps us if you like these, and subscribe. And we hope to see you next time. See ya!
They suggest that you have a pump or a thirsty mate on board, so you can do some man-held to actual pumping.
Man-held? Man-held pumping?
Sailing virgins! Yeah!